What's going on YouTube? This is the AlphonZeus Team Gradelock here. This is not an announcement or a vlog, but yeah, we're doing deck profiles again. So
we're waking up from a dream. The boy did it. He topped with Loronerol.
Yeah, so after practicing a lot with Legacy Cups, so shout out to Legacy for with the tournaments helping me kind of fine tune Loronerol and see where my errors have been. And yeah, so I was with John and Dan in Seat C as I was just, I went X2 personally the whole event, and then yeah, we got first place. So I'm sorry about the over trigger. They did not have the Lyrical Monasterio champion promo, so they're going to email and ship it out. So I'll look forward to having the fancy one soon. But for now, I'll show you the deck profile that I used to get the first one. Of course, our ride deck is always the same. You have, Loronerol 0, 1, 2, 3, on ride, when ride on top, get the grade 1 order, ride on top, get the grade 2 order, we call it. Of course, Loronerol herself, whenever you get to once return, count box 1, sing a song, which means you take the order song, you activate its effects, and you flip it face down. But, still counts, and then her second skill, when I have 2 face down cards in the order zone, on her attack, I get to not only sing another song, but I can also call no sentinel guards. So shout out to Silent Tommy Tsukishima, because I like it when my opponents don't guard because they cannot. So that's with the ride deck. Let's move on to our deck. So we'll start with the zeros, ones, twos, threes, and then we'll go to our orders. For trigger lineup, we have our 8 crits here. I need 8 crits to be defensive, and of course with the 3 draws, I don't really need to draw as I have enough cards to draw cards for me, which you will see later. Our over trigger, which only activated twice the whole tournament, once in round 2 or 3 when I checked it defensively, and then the finals where I checked it on my grade 2 turn. So I'll screen cap the image of how that experience was. And of course, we cannot forget our 4 heals. Heals are important. Usually what I've noticed, especially in the early game, if I have to draw into crits, heals, draws, those would be my ideal pitch targets for the ride deck because everything else is pretty important. So let's go to our grade 1s. I run 4 sentinels. I like the waifus. I like having different waifus and seeing them in full art. It's pretty nice. So very good to have because of course this is like upgraded perfect guard where place on guardian circle, discard, but if you have 1 or less cards in hand, then you can go ahead and cast that for free. On the Flagbird game, which I lost, I realized that I could guard 2 and I can save the Persona Ride in hand by just guarding the last swing and dropping the PG for free. So this is probably the best type of perfect guard yet. Not as restrictive and very good upside if you are caught in a pinch. Then the next grade 1, we have a Classy Breeze Harriet. This is probably one of my MVPs that I run for because she gains 5k during my turn. If I have 2 or more cards in the order zone, doesn't matter if they're face up or face down, as long as I count 2, she becomes 13k. So what I do is that against rush decks in particular, I do like to try and not have myself take damage too much. So sometimes if I have the Harriet, call it, give them an appropriate target to swing at, gives me less chance to have the Vanguard hit. So sometimes you just have to bait out the aggro decks to make sure that they they don't focus entirely on my Vanguard, and I have already enough draw power and recovery to make sure that they recover. And of course on Persona Ride turns, she becomes 23k, magic number, they have to drop that 15k shield to guard, and just a very good card overall, just to boost and hit even more magic numbers. 13k magic number, of course, 3, 8, 13, 18, very, very good. So she is probably my MVP for just grade 1 lineups. Then I run 2 of the Fighting Spirit Recharge Luisa. Now this girl enables me to kind of make sure I can be kind of fluid with my counterblast usage. So her skill is that when she boosts, if I sung a song this turn, she gains 5k, and if she's in the center slot behind the Vanguard, so the Vanguard booster, I countercharge 1. So at the very least, if I sung a song, she becomes an 11k booster, which is nice. A little bit downgrade from the Harriet, but she gets just the really only place of countercharging that I have. So I'm very hesitant if I have to pitch her for a perfect guard or ride deck, because especially if we go up against control decks and they pop her, I need to find the only one other card that I need but every time it comes in, I have the counter blast set up for a second song next turn, so that Loronerol will be able to start having those central swings. Then we have a grade 2s, which of course MVP. We have our Honest Council President, Eknoa. So she's great for the fact that she is my main draw engine for the power, which is why I only got 3 draws. If I sung a song this turn on swing, so it doesn't matter if it's rear guard or vanguard, when she swings, counterblast 1, discard a card, draw 2. Which is great because I can ditch dead cards, get better cards, and get more order cards to play, more songs to sing, more cards to guard with, and she's definitely probably one of the she's the MVP of my grade 2 lineup. Always love it, and 25k on Persona my turn, very fierce. A lot of times I'll probably end up doing the empty swing first with 20k, see if they hit the trigger, and then I can do the 25k boost. One of the matches I had to hit the extra 5k to overcome Bastion because they did not have their guard. And then I think this one also, the defensive player of the year, we have our dancing score Elmer. She is a card where she's your regular 9k, grade 2, 5k shield, but on Guardian Circle placement, whether if I intercept with her or I just place it straight from the Guardian, straight from my hand, I get Soul Blast 1 and I count how many order cards I have, and she gets 5k shield for each order card. So I can make it to a 10k shield if I'm going up against aggro, or especially if it gets to the late game, I can make her 25k shield, 3k shield, and so on and so forth. She's come in clutch so many times because the 1 card guard is amazing, and being able to conserve hand while making sure that I pay out Soul Blast is actually a good card because I can also use that against decks like Prison, which also take advantage of my soul, which is something I had to pick up on the fly when I got there. And then finally for the grade 3s, I run 3 Persona rides. In the first iteration of the build, I did not run a single Persona ride because I wanted to, try out other grade 3s, which worked, but they were situational, and the rest of the team was like, just run the Persona ride. So I'm like, okay, I'll run it. It's not max rarity, but she still is good for the Persona ride option in order to enable it, which was important for the last match I had to play where Persona ride really did matter a lot. So, Loronerol Persona ride really good. So that's what it normally is. Now let's head into our orders. The first is the Romantic Happiness, which is a grade 1 order. I only run one of. I know I took the risk because over the past week and a half, there were at least 2 or 3 times where I actually damage checked this, and it feels bad because I won't be able to grab an order out when I ride from grade 1 to grade 2. But her usefulness and utility is that when she's sung, 5k to the Vanguard, draw a card. Immediate plus because at least when I can feel comfortable with it, I can go ahead and play it and make sure I guarantee an extra draw to see how well I can sculpt my turn to have a strong turn 3 turn and then a strong turn 4 push with the Sentinel Swing and others. So I may consider bumping this up to 2, but 1 for right now I think I'm happy with. Then we run our 4 of Matter Red Runway, which is arguably one of the MVPs and probably one of the biggest cards that I would consider going second. Because when she enters the order zone, if my opponent's on grade 3 already, I get to draw a card. And being able to cycle through my hand, refund the cost is important. And then when she's sung, Vanguard gets a crit. And I like having, big effective swings that deal lots of damage. Very important. I have to keep this at 4 because not only is she good when I get to draw a card, but also especially in the late game when I just need crits. When I need more pieces, just drop the runway, draw a card, hopefully it's the card that I need. Then finally, we have the 6 Flower Fractal, which I run at 4 of. And this card is amazing for the fact that you only activate this when you start singing with Loronerol when you flip over the second order. You want to make sure you flip over the crit, and usually after flipping over Romantic Happiness, this is pretty much the play you want to do to start swinging 6 Flower Fractal. When it's sung, it checks how many face down cards you have in your order zone, so how many songs you've sung so far. Then you restand the rear guards equal to the number of face down cards before you flip this over. So it unfortunately doesn't count for itself. So right now I can guarantee myself 5 swings a la Bruce in a way. OG Bruce before the new support, and my Vanguard gets plus 10k for each rear guard stood. Very important because having Loronerol on the Persona ride turn go from 23 to 43, especially if I have especially when I have Luisa, that is minimum 54k with an extra crit, and I counter charge, so they have to drop, you know, their OT, which something they had to do before, or drop a mass amount of hand, or they just can't do it because they need to guard the other 2 swings before they hit the defensive trigger. So I run this at 4, and this also, if all else fails, I just have to discard this for Ride Deck. I think I can deal with having 2 6-power fractals, which is fine. The other 2 I can use with discard fodder for Ride Deck and or PGs. I just have this with the flexibility of being able to see it, and since I want 3 draw triggers as well as other draws, it's actually very good. So let's get into our let's get into the round breakdown. So of my run in particular with Loronerol. So round 1 we run up against Bastion, and Bastion I have an advantageous matchup with because they really just have their PGs and their Great Thief shield values, but it's not enough to overcome the 6-power fractal combo with Loronerol. So we won that, team won. Round 2 Flagbird. I hate rush matchups, I don't like rush matchups, and he pushed me uncomfortably to 3 or 4, and our team lost that. I wasn't able to do much in that match, but I have not played this against Flagbird. I thought he was just the son of Maelstrom, so that was a fun learning experience. Round 3, I went up against Barrow. Barrow, I followed what the Corsa matchup was, and I just barely called rear guards. I just wanted to have enough rear guards to swing. The only time that I would call rear guards would be for Luisa, just to get the counter charge in, so I can be sure to sing a song for the next turn. Won Barrow, won that match. Round 4 Prison. That's when I realized that, since I take cards from Soul, I should start Soul Blasting cards to call cards from Prison, as well as for Elmer for defensive. That was a way to help do that, because when I just lost 6 cards, but I was able to I had my PGs in hand to guard against Prison. So round 4, won that. Round 5, up against Gravidia. Yeah, just double crit times 2. That happened, but even though I lost the match, our team won. So that was round 5. Round 6 was another Prison, where he did not find his Grade 4. He did not Persona Ride, he just tried to block more cards from Prison, and I was able to luck out in that regard. Then we went to top 8. It was a rematch from round 6 for Prison. Again, he did not see his Grade 4, and I don't think he even played his order on turn 1. So I was very surprised that he just wanted to drive check, so I respect that. But I won the match because he did not find his Grade 4 until he drove check it twice on his Trinity drive, which means like I could just go in Loronerol, swing the crits, and win that match. The top 4 went against Bastion again. He had 7 cards in hand, and when I did my 6-power fractal turn, I swung, and my last swing was with the President. I decided to just get the draws in, add the extra 5k shield, and he was 5k shield off because he revealed his hand to reveal 6 Grade 3s, and that 1 Grade 3 that gained shield, but it wasn't enough to break the 5k shield, which is why Akinoa really is good for the relevant 5k power threshold. And finally, I went against Barrow. So that means went against Bastion twice, Prison 3 times, Barrow twice, Prison 3 times, and I luckily dodged all the Magnolias, so shout out to John for eating the Magnolias with Gravidia. The way that it had to come down to Barrow was I followed the same strategy before, just get enough to do 3 attacks on rear guards, and then after he sucked up the field, which included my 13k, let's see, let me just try to find it. Okay. Okay. So on the turn 3 we had Loronerol and Akinoa. Swung in, and of course Barrow sucked them all up, and I was like, hey, what do you do? So, Grade 2, I checked my OT offensively. The only time I ever checked my OT offensively, and I ended up doing, okay, we're just gonna end up Persona riding, seeing what we do here. I draw it, and I literally had a board where I realized that, all my rear guards get 10k because the second offensive trigger was all my rear guards get 10k for the remainder of the fight. So I had to draw in pretty hard, and all I got was this board. And this was on Persona Ride turn, and with the OT, so 25k, 29k, swing, restand, And yeah, that's how I won the deciding match, because after Dan lost and John won, it was up to me, and that's what Loronerol did. For set 2, I still have to look into a few cards to see how I want to tech in. This build is pretty optimized for what it is, so I'm very glad with the result and the outcome. It's very, very good. I think that I found my playstyle in Vanguard where I just don't want my opponents to guard because they can't. So this deck pretty works well for me, and I look forward to practicing more now into new metas, especially when we get more aggressive matchups. Until we get Theagrea, which that can be a break for me for a little bit, and that'll be nice. And yeah, that's the deck profile. If you have any input on like round for Lyrical Set 2 as to what can upgrade Loronerol, prepare her for new metas to come, feel free to comment down below. And that's it. I am the AlphonZeus Team Gradelock, and yeah, doing deck profiles again, 10 years in. So cheers guys, hope you have a good night, morning, afternoon, catch you later.
Deuces.